All right, hikers, Huckleberry Min here for another installment of Last One to Katahdin Wins. How to through hike the Appalachian Trail when you are old enough to know better. Today I want to talk about planning resources for your through hike. I am mostly going to focus on, and I have focused mostly on trying to give you information I didn't have that's kind of really pertains to older hikers. And now I'm going to tell you where I learned what I did before I started, which wasn't necessarily enough, right? It's just what I had. Okay, it's what I had to go on, and I was pretty happy with my preparation. So you got, as you might guess, a few different places to get information: books, websites, and from YouTube. And I'm going to talk about all three of these and in at least enough detail where you can make some choices. These are all going to be my own choices, what I use. There's more books, more websites, more YouTube presenters that I'm going to share. And I'm one of them now, right? For instance, there'll be new people I'm not even aware of, but I'll be going through my choices and I can at least vouch for these and the usefulness of these. So on the books, you're going to do this kind of ass backwards, but I would read Grandma Gatewood's Walk. It's inspirational. It'll make you want to hike the trail. And when I was hiking the trail, I often said to myself, Grandma Gatewood was 67 years old. She carried her gear in a sack on her shoulder. She had a shower curtain to sleep under and as a rain cover. And she finished the hike and was the first woman to do so way back in the 50s. Appalachian Trials is an interesting book for planning because Zach Davis goes over challenges in doing your hike. And he's the one that I first learned that idea of really nailing down your reason for hiking. I really recommend that book. The Appalachian Trail Reader, I like this, an anthology of everything from essays by Thoreau to articles about geology and everything in between, the history of the Appalachian Trail. And it's kind of a little pointy-headed, but if you're pointy-headed, you might like it. And I got to talk about this Appalachian Trail through hike planner from the Appalachian Trail Conservancy a little bit more than the others because I found it to be particularly useful. And I think that once you decide you for sure are going to do this thing, that you're going to do this hike, I think you're going to feel like it's a really useful resource to have. And I'm trying to figure out how I can show this to you. And maybe I got to do this. I'll just stop sharing. There we are. So it looks like this. It's flat. It's not expensive. It has really, really useful planning resources from just descriptions of places on the trail. But also it has like a list of post office boxes and different towns and stuff where you can, an itinerary for resupply. Really help you if you're going to mail food and stuff to yourself. So if you decide you're going, get this, and maybe even before, because it might help you decide that you're going. And actually, your family members find out that you're going. You'll get this for Christmas. So make your decision soon enough. And I think if you're going to hike this year, that would probably be a good idea anyway, to make that decision really soon. So I'm trying to figure out where to share from now. Let's try this. Yeah, not it. Here we go. We're back on track. So what about websites? Well, there's just a lot of great websites for doing this trip. And these are ones I found particularly useful. I'm just going to quickly show each one of them to you, okay? So just bear with me for just a second. I'll show you what these look like. First of all, let's take a look at the the Trek, which is just a really nice source for all kinds of information about the Appalachian Trail, but also the other trails. You see the CTD, the PCT, if you want to learn more about those. There's articles on everything that you can imagine, all sorts of resources you'll find useful, an interactive map, for instance, and blogs from people, a gear list will be very up to date, and the trail name generator is not how I got my name. And but this is a good one. So take a look for this. I mean, keep your eyes peeled for this the trek. And of course, you can check this out at any time. Take a look for it. The Appalachian Trail Conservancy has got a great website also with lots of articles and a source for the books and stuff like the Appalachian Trail Thru Hike Planner that I've talked about. This is definitely one that you've got to take a look at. There's a site called White Blazes, which has lots of hiker-sourced information about the trail, and it's worth looking at. I found it a little bit awkward to navigate, but there's some great sources in this. And in fact, this is where I found out about my very favorite website, which is called Wiki Trails. And Wiki Trails has a tool that will generate an itinerary for you. You can see I created a whole bunch of different itineraries from different places along the trail. I did it while I was on the trail. I started out with this itinerary from Springer to Katahdin, starting on March 28th. And you put in stuff like how fast you think you go, how many miles a day you think that you're going to do, how many hours a day you think that you're going to hike. And so anyway, it will generate an itinerary. And for me, the itinerary looked like this, and it comes out on a calendar. You can download this to your own calendar. It actually has the names of shelters and campsites on it in green, places where it recommends you would take a 0 day. And I mean, it's really amazing. And it was, for me, it was spot on, which just means I was good at figuring out, estimating how fast I was going to go. And when I was gone for a week because of COVID, I created a new itinerary from that start date on. And so very powerful, useful tool. Not that you're going to follow it exactly, but when somebody says, well, when do you think you're going to be in Damascus? You just look at your itinerary, you say, oh, I think it's going to be around May 7th. And it'll be close for me. And I would monitor it as I went along. It would be very close. And so check out Wiki Trails. And again, all of these, you can Google them, and I will try to attach them in a clickable form at the bottom of this video. So I figure out how to do that. But these were the sites that I used. And you can find others. There's lots of others. But I found these to be just really, really great go-to information sources. And so look for those. What about YouTube? I mean, come on, people. This is the YouTube generation. You know you watch YouTube. Are you baking that bread during COVID and stuff? And, these are the ones that I used, the people I followed on YouTube. Of course, Dixie on her site is Homemade Wanderlust, and Darwin on the Trail, and Bigfoot. I found these three, and I'm just saying they're vetted for you now, but there may be newer people. There may actually be some other old guy that does a YouTube for you. But check these guys out. And like I said, if you're looking for something that's been vetted, these guys are vetted, okay? So, and that's, I guess, all I can say about that is they're vetted. So what do they look like? Well, here's Homemade Wanderlust. She now has a lot of her stuff on a website, but you can also just find her on YouTube, and you can Google specific things. These guys are all famous now. They can make a living giving out this information. I'm just telling you, these three are really good. There may be other good ones. These are no nonsense, really good information, unbiased. You know, they're not trying to sell you a particular tent or pack or something. And so I really like them all a lot. And Dixie started out as an engineer, and she took some time off the hike, and now she's a YouTuber, teaches people how to hike. Darwin on the Trail, he also does a lot of bike packing and some other kinds of traveling. And he's got a whole slew of videos. He's on another presentation site now, in addition to YouTube. He's on Patreon. But I look for Darwin, again, no nonsense, just really good information. A lot of these people, you know, they did like review of gear, you know, 5 years ago. And so you might have to look for newer gear reviews, but, you know, maybe you're looking for used gear, in which case that might be really useful for you anyway. And then a Bigfoot, follow Bigfoot. I really recommend following Bigfoot. And that's Paul's Bigfoot. He looks like this, not like that. And another great source, all these people have done a lot of other trails. So if you want to know also about the Pacific Crest Trail, you can find information there. If you want to know about the that trail in Europe, you know, the pilgrimage trail that a lot of people go on, they'll have information about that too. So just good sources. Again, I'm just saying, you know, that these sources are good, not that these are the only ones that you should trust. But if you don't want to have to go through the trouble of vetting sources of information yourself, start with these folks. And I don't think you'll be sorry if you do. And so the books and the websites and the YouTubes, I'll try to have links for these attached below the YouTube screen. But until next time, happy trails. This is Huckleberry, a Huckleberry Man. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Oops, now I gotta figure out how to end this video.